Dear instructors, respected elders, beloved students, and of course our incredible volunteers and amirs and amiras, and a special shout out to my fellow niche heroes. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Alhamdulillah wa salatu wassalamu ala rasulillah. When I was first told about this event, I was very excited to be able to hear all the Almaghrib instructors all at once, some that I met and was touched by, and others that I am yet to meet. And I've been enjoying this session. I joined about an hour ago, and it was incredible. And I'm a bit nervous and emotional. So if I get a little emotional, just blame it on Abu Isa, inshallah. When I was growing up, I felt very fortunate that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent my way brothers who inspired me, and I didn't realize how special it was until I came across this ayah from a surah that I was struggling to memorize. When people ask me which is the surah that you had a hard time memorizing, it was Surah Al-An'am, and in it in particular there's one ayah that I've been reflecting upon for the past 25 years, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم أَوَمَنْ كَانَ مَيْتًا فَأَحْيَيْنَاهُ وَجَعَلْنَا لَهُ نُورًا يَمْشِي بِهِ فِي النَّاسِ كَمَنْ مَثَلُهُ في الظلمات ليس بخارج منها كذلك زين للكافرين ما كانوا يعملون. And is one who is dead, lifeless, numb, desensitized, wasted, worthless, is that person whom we gave life to, revived, revitalized, resuscitated, invigorated, rejuvenated with the deen. And on top of that, we gave him light. This is light of guidance, with which he walks through the land among people like one who is still stuck in darkness, never to emerge from those places. Is that person similar? And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, كَذَلِكَ زُيِّنَ لِلْكَافِرِينَ مَا كَانُوا يَعْمَلُونَ. Thus, it has been beautified, made pleasing to the disbelievers, which they do. Things that their lifestyle has been made attractive to them. They don't see how ugly and how awful it is. Why? Because they don't have that light of guidance. They don't have rays of faith in their life. It is darkness after darkness. They haven't gotten a chance to go through a purification act and to emerge out of that darkness. In fact, sometimes they may even look at someone who is walking out amongst people with the light of guidance and think, oh, we're better than that person. So when I heard this ayah and when I came across this ayah and studied it, I said, subhanAllah, how fortunate are we to have the guidance of Islam. This is the greatest ni'mah indeed. And then the last part of that ayah stayed with me, how sometimes people could really be deceived and not realize that they're going in the wrong direction because they just don't know any better. And that kept kept me in check. Then I remember when I first came to America about 20 years ago, one day I was listening to a lecture by Shaykh al-Qarni, hafidhahullah, and in it he was talking, and I believe that the title of that lecture was Sirrul Khaifin, the mystery of those people who fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And he mentioned so many moving stories. And then there he mentions the story of Muhammad ibn al-Munkadir, when he one day was praying at night and came across a verse from the Qur'an. He came across an ayah from the Qur'an, and he cried. He was weeping. He couldn't stop. The members of his household tried to stop him. They couldn't. So they basically sent to one of his friends, another great scholar, Abu Hazim al-A'raj, rahimahum Allah, who came and he said, tried to calm him down. He said, what is wrong with you? What is happening? He said, I read this ayah from the Qur'an, and this is what happened. So he said, what ayah are you talking about? So he recited to him an ayah. Now, I remember listening to that lecture. I remember the place, and I remember the time. And then Shaykh A'id basically mentions the ayah. And then when he mentioned the ayah, I knew it was an ayah from the Qur'an. But wait a minute, where is that ayah? Because I kind of lost touch with the Qur'an. It was very hard to basically revise and maintain. So I said, I know that ayah is from the Qur'an. Where is it? So I had to basically scan through the whole Mus'haf from the first page all the way through the 604 pages of the Qur'an, and I couldn't see it. I was so startled. I was shocked when I heard, and he didn't even recite the whole ayah. He just mentioned the last part of that ayah. And I was wondering, I knew that ayah existed in Surah Al-Zumar, so I went through the whole surah. I couldn't see it. Then it was after an hour when I calmed down that I was able to basically locate that ayah. And that ayah ties in with ayah 122 from Surah Al-An'am, because in that ayah Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about the wrongdoers and how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the Almighty, says, وَلَوْ أَنَّ لِلَّذِينَ ظَلَمُوا مَا فِي الْأَرْضِ جَمِيعًا وَمِثْلَهُ مَعَهُ لَافْتَدَوْا بِهِ مِنْ سُوءِ الْعَذَابِ يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ وَبَدَا لَهُم مِّنَ اللَّهِ مَا لَمْ يَكُونُوا يَحْتَسِبُونَ. And if those who did wrong had all that is in the earth entirely, and the like of it, if they had double that amount, if they had 120 billion or 84 billion stored here and there, all over the world, if they had all the wealth in the world to ransom themselves thereby on the Day of Judgment from the punishment of the Day of Judgment, they would do it. But at the end, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala closes, and this is the ayah, this is the part that really shocked me. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَبَدَا لَهُم مِّنَ اللَّهِ مَا لَمْ يَكُونُوا يَحْتَسِبُونَ, and there will appear to them from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala which they had not taken into account. That's why, wrongdoers basically do whatever they do, and they think that they can get away with it. And that's why I would like to warn myself and warn you, my dear brothers and sisters, from falling into the same trap, underestimating sins, taking things that we say or do lightly, showing off. Al-Fudayl ibn Iyad said that عملوا أعمالا وحسبوا أنها حسنات فإذا هي سيئات, that people, these are people who did deeds and they thought it was good, but it was actually not good, it was evil. So do not underestimate authenticity. The way out of this is with two things. One, maintaining authenticity and making sure that whatever we do is in alignment, that conforms to the prophetic tradition. And number two, making sure that whatever we do is sincere and for the sake of Allah Azza wa Jal. I say this and ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make you and I of those who listen and follow the best of what they listen to. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.